All right, hi everyone. We are going to be talking about Venus figurines today, and it's going to be set in the time period of Paleolithic life. My name's Ashley.
My name is Ivan Villa.
And my name is Mariana.
So to start off this presentation, I'm just going to give a little background. So Venus figurines are Paleolithic, and they're handheld devices that were used by women to help them with fertility and other reasons that we will be going through later on in this presentation. But to start off with, the most famous figurine is the Venus von Willendorf. It was discovered in 1908, and the name itself pays homage to the type of figurine, the Venus figurine, and the location of its discovery in Willendorf. The figurine itself only stands 11 centimeters tall, and there are no distinguishing facial features. This means there's no eyes, no nose, no ears, no mouth, anything that would make it look like a woman, there is none of. You can see to the image to the right, which is the figurine itself. It just looks like a bunch of little beads around the face, which is why we say there are no distinguishable facial features. Now, the Venus von Willendorf is around 29,500 years old, so nearly 30,000 years old, so very old. Again, this is a Paleolithic figurine. And right now, it is currently located in Vienna, Austria, in a museum. And just some things to keep in mind to think about the time period that we're in. Mammoths were still walking the earth when these were being held by women. The wheel won't be invented for 23,000 years, and the pyramids weren't even a thought because they won't be invented for another 25,000 years. So as we continue, the appearance of these figurines are both in the male and female perspective, and I'm going to be talking about the male perspective. So why are these figurines have exaggerated features such as their breasts, their hips, their waist? Why are they exaggerated? We don't know. We can research, we can hypothesize. However, we're never going to know because we weren't there during that time period. But research from the male's perspective has shown that they may have had these forms because of the golden ratio of the hip to waist ratio. And that was ideal for men to find women that had those body types because they can reproduce at a higher rate. So we'll never really know why, but that could be the reason. But they have shown through ancestry and through generational change that these have shown the waist and hip ratio to be larger because of the fertility aspect to it.
From the female perspective, another theory is that the Venus figurines in some way were created and or added onto by women. For starters, it is believed that the reason the figurines have no face and or feet is because of the perspective in which figurines were created from. From a woman's perspective, their bodies may look different to themselves depending on their composure. A person can't see their own face no matter what, and based on the posture of how the Venus figurines are composed, it is highly unlikely for a woman to see their own feet. Therefore, what some people may see as an exaggeration of parts of the body in Venus figurines, others believe that the figurines were created by women as a self-representation of their own bodies from what they can see of themselves. It is why there are multiple Venus figurines that come in different shapes and sizes. When a woman looks down on their own body, they see what stands out to them more, which has been known to be, but not limited to, what is essentially closest to them most.
When it comes to fertility, Venus figurines represented fertility in various aspects. Venus figurines on occasions were used as theoretical tools to improve the chances of survival for both the parent and the offspring. This was in hopes to start a successful motherhood. Hypotheses and notions support the idea that figurines that were overweight and were pregnant represented survival, since this was the Paleolithic era. These concepts connect with each other because this all connects to motherhood, which is and fertility. this really represents womanhood, and this leads to the figurines being viewed as, well, being a viewpoint of not only survival but also beauty, and this leads to them being seen as mother goddesses. When it comes to other aspects of representation and material culture, studies were done on textiles, nets, and looms to better understand the cultural influence and image portrayed by these figurines. Almost 40 textile impressions were unveiled by researchers. They found cloth such as sashes, skirts, shirts, and shawls. These pieces of cloth leads to a conclusion that there were certain ancient technology features involved with these figurines. These technologies include basket making and different styles of weaving. These ancient technology features are important because they represent these figurines with aspects of power and value in their culture. Ashley in the first slide talked about the Venus of Willendorf. Here's an interesting quote by Alexander Marshak, who really specializes in the Stone Age era. It states that Willendorf richly and elaborated in an inference and meaning. She wore the fabric of her culture, and she was a referential library and a multi-purpose symbol.
All right, so now that my teammates have covered a variety of different important aspects about the Venus figurines, we thought it would be important to talk about other historical figurines from different parts of the world that relate to our topic, and also talk about traditions that are still with us today. So for this first slide, we're going to begin with talking about the figurine that we can see on the screen. It's from the Japanese Jomon period, and it's about 10 to 15-ish centimeters tall. And it was found in Tokyo. The reason this figurine is important to our presentation is because if we take a closer look at the image, we can see its enhanced breast and belly, which represent a pregnant woman. With further research, we found that figurines such as the one on our slide were often used by worshippers. They would rub them on a pregnant woman's belly. The article from which we gathered the information for this slide mentions that by doing this, the request was evident, the desire for children, or the hope of already pregnant women for good childbearing or easy childbirth. This connects back to our thesis because this artifact is very similar to the Venus figurines physically. Like Ashley mentioned, it's something small that could be carried around. So if the Japanese figurines were used for pregnancy and fertility related purposes, then we can make an educated guess that the Venus figurines serve the same purpose. And before we move on to the next slide, I quickly wanted to mention a fun fact from the same article that we used. They would take these figurines and throw them in with food waste, and then they would pray over the food waste for fertility and their ability to regenerate the food that was being discarded. And now to move on to similar traditions today. So for this slide, we wanted to connect our thoughts on the Venus figurines to traditions that are still alive. In the image to the left of the screen, we can see a pregnant woman who is wearing a safety pin on her shirt. An article on PubMed Talks mentions that in the context of Nigerian society, its use in pregnant women has been attributed to a lot of cultural beliefs, including protection of the fetus from evil spirits and helping to ensure safe delivery. And it goes on to say that safety pin use on garments is still a commonly used practice today. The reason I wanted to bring this tradition up is because it's, again, something small that women can carry with, that a pregnant woman can carry with her to protect her baby, which is what, to the best of our guess, that the Venus figurines were used for. They just kind of connect. And we quickly wanted to mention that this just goes to show that it's been it's in human nature to find symbols that protect or either manifest the continuation of pregnancy. That's it for the slide.
To conclude the presentation, Venus figurines were important to Paleolithic women because of the multiple representations people believed the figurines to represent, such as fertility and womanhood. Although the true meanings behind the Venus figurines may never be known, multiple viewpoints on such artifacts lead back to and support the idea of how the Venus figurines impacted women in the Paleolithic era. It is that each belief, alongside a figurine, gave women a sense of security for their beauty and their offspring.
And these are the sources we use to collect our findings. Thank you for listening.